Yo, so welcome back, CBN Nation. We're back with the interview. This time, we're going to turn the tables this time, and we're going to interview Mr. AJ Simmons. As we know, he's always doing the interviewing, but this time, we're going to dig in deep, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the man behind CBN. Is that cool, Mr. AJ?
That's cool. I appreciate you, Mr. Calvin, for having me, taking the time to invite me on and let me get to see how I feel to be on that other side of that camera sometimes.
Absolutely, man. So let's start up like this. Tell us a little bit about your upbringings.
All right, cool. So I grew up in somewhat of a single-parent household. I had my dad till I was about 8 years old. And then after that, it was pretty much single-parent household after that. But I did learn a lot from my dad being there up until I was 8. You know, it taught me to be a family man. I have one brother, one sister. My brother's the youngest, Michael, and then my sister's the oldest, Deisha. And that was pretty much it as far as my childhood. I grew up, and by the time I was a teenager, I got into the cleaning industry. Started working for a guy by the name of Pops, who kind of showed me the ropes in high school. And I saw him living in that high-rise condo and driving his little Audi. And I was like, man, what do you do? And I'm like, what, like, is this cleaning business? Is the only thing that's how you afford this? And it was like, and so he was like, yeah, and he didn't have like a degree or anything. So it was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? So ever since I was about 17, 18, I've been kind of dealing with the cleaning industry ever since then. And that's kind of how I got from there to where I am now, pretty much.
Wow. So how did you get introduced to that cleaning business owner?
Yeah, so actually through my friend Monte, shout out Monte. So he was working for him first. Monte was like a year or two older than me. And then he told me about this guy he was working for, that he was getting money. So I'm like, all right, bet I'm down for some money. So I went to go work for him too. And Pops used to pick me, Monte, his other brother Tonio. He used to pick us up and we just ride all over the few cities around, the 7 cities around here, and just knocking out buildings left and right, left and right. And Pops used to cuss us out, and you know, we used to miss some stuff. We cleaned the bathroom, and you see some smudges on that aluminum. What is it? It's like a chrome handle for the sink and stuff. He come back and get us with that. So, but I'm thankful for the experience. I mean, like Pops probably was the reason that I got into it for real, along with other mentors along the way.
Was Pop independent or was he with a franchise?
He was actually with a franchise. He was actually with Janet King. And so originally when I was like back in the day when I was trying to get into the industry and start on my own, I reached out to Janet King first, naturally, because he was with him. But after I guess I can toot my own horn and say I was smart because I knew I'm not just going to do it because Pops went with them. I'm going to compare. So I started comparing and I compared Janet King to Jam Pro to Coverall to Vanguard and even Anago in my area. And at that time, I thought it was the best decision to go with Coverall.
Wow. So would you say that being with a franchise was a little bit more in favor of the franchisee back then than it is now?
Well, you could say that because Clean Biz Network then is number one. Okay, so you could say that. But honestly, I think that the only reason I did it, because Clean Biz Network, like I didn't have any guidance, I didn't know what to do, and it was like Pops, even though as great as example as he was to me, he wasn't really a business guy. He was still working for the money. He didn't really know more than what the franchise told, so it was like I didn't really have anybody to go to show me how to do it outside of the franchise. So that was the only route I know. So at that time, that was the best route for me.
I like it. So you got exposed to cleaning, but you did own a barbershop. Well, you own 2 barbershops. So did that happen before you did the cleaning gig with Pop, or was that after?
Yeah, so that was way after. So once I finally invested in my franchise, right? So I got the Coverall franchise. I'm getting contracts. I'm starting to get my money up a little bit, right? And as I'm doing that, I got bored with it, because cleaning isn't a sexy business, and I wanted to be Jay-Z. I wanted to be flashy, you know what I mean? And I was a rapper at the time, and it wasn't cool always to say, yeah, I own a cleaning company. So I wanted something a little bit more cooler. So I invested into a barbershop. And the barbershop I got through one of my next mentors, I got to shout her out too, with Donna Grace, who was also a franchise owner with Coverall. Yep, she was with Coverall. And she kind of took me under her wing. And how I met her, actually, it's funny how I met her, because when I was doing my research on which franchise to buy, I was going through like the previous owned franchise owners, all the stuff I tell you guys to do now, if y'all do go that route. And I was looking and I was calling each and every last one of them to ask what they thought about the company. And she told me, she said, well, if you do buy in, make sure that you tell them that I referred you so I can get that referral. You know what I mean? So I did that for her. We just built that relationship ever since. And she kind of took me under her wing. And she taught me a lot. But anyway, she had rental properties. She had her franchise. And she also had that barbershop. And the barbershop was just sitting there one day. And I was like, look, what you doing with that barbershop over there? Like, what you doing with this? Because she had a property upstairs, a rental property, like apartment. And then she had the barbershop downstairs. I'm like, what you doing with that? She's like, well, I want to open it, but I can't find a barber. So it was already furniture, everything already there. And I'm like, look, I went home that night, scribbled up a business plan of how I can make this work. And mind you, I'm broke. Like I had a little money from the franchise, but I didn't save no money. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't got nothing really to give her. But either way, I negotiated a plan to get that barbershop. And the barbershop was actually doing well, but my management skills wasn't. So the barbershop eventually failed right after I sold my franchise. So then I was back in the working world. All right. And then once I got back in the working world, I finally got a good paying job at the shipyard, and I used that money to buy another cleaning franchise. This time I went with Jam Pro, not because they were so better than Coverall or anything. Pretty much all of them the same for real. But I went there because I ruined my reputation for Coverall, and I just felt like Janet King was too hot. So I went to Jam Pro. And I sailed with Jam Pro, won the Franchise Owner of the Year Honorable Mention Award after my very first year there. What else? And then, actually, you know what? I'm wrong. Before I got that second franchise, I bought the second barbershop. And the second barbershop was a similar deal. I just negotiated a price to get in there cheap. I brought in a partner. Shout out to my guy, Ike. He partnered with me on it to help come up with the funds. And we started that barbershop. That barbershop didn't do as well as the first one because it was in a horrible location, and it was hard to get barbers inside of their styles as well. So we closed that one down voluntarily, and then that's when I invested into my Jam Pro franchise and got into that.
Wow. So when would you say your journey as an entrepreneur began? Like, when did this all start, and when did you realize that being an entrepreneur was the best path for AJ Simmons?
You know what? I can't really pinpoint like a time when I knew that I was gonna be an entrepreneur, because I didn't even know you never heard of that word with kids. At least I know I did. You know what I mean? But one thing I did notice about me was I always looked up to the business guy, right? I always looked up. When we watch movies, you see the guy with the suit on that like he was in charge. I wanted to be that guy. Even like I know some people say Diddy is kind of whack like to the black culture, but I love Diddy. You know what I mean? So when I was a kid, you had Biggie and you had Diddy, and it was like I looked up to Diddy simply because I'm like, yeah, Biggie the popular one and he the rapper. That dude over there, he getting the money, he the boss. You know what I mean? So it's like I always identified with the guy who was in charge. You know what I mean? So I just look at it. I don't know if I was born that way or what, but I do know that naturally I'm a rebellious person. So I think that too, that me just not wanting people to always have to tell me what to do, and I didn't never want to depend on anybody. You know what I mean? So I think that's what drove me to want to be an entrepreneur.
I agree, man. And this is a little off the topic, but I've always said that once Diddy reaches $1 billion, like we would literally see in hip hop, like the first true hip hop head become a billionaire. Cause like Jay is that guy. But if you think about it, that influence of him being attached to Beyonce, that helps him a lot, man. And the
Absolutely.
Same thing with her. Like her being attached to him helps her a lot business-wise. But Diddy is like, he's really self-made. Really self-made.
That's fact, though. That's fact. As a matter of fact, most people don't really notice, not to get too long on them, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? But for years, like Diddy was the one that actually that led the Forbes every single year out of all of the hip hop people. It was Diddy for years, and then 50 finally came and stole it one year. The Dr. Dre stole it one year, but Jay wasn't even topping it until later. He was always up there, but he was never number one for a while.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were a rapper. How much has being in the music industry influenced the way you see the cleaning industry? Because I often hear you sometimes go back and forth and you relate the two, especially to the franchise model. So can you share how the music industry helped you like navigate and make decisions in your franchise?
Absolutely. That's actually a good question, because it's very parallel. And like when I say I was rapping, like I was signed to an independent label, I was actually out there doing shows. I mean, I was really delved into it. As a matter of fact, I read a book called Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry by Don Passman. Good book, and I think he's still updated every day to this year. So not every day, but every year. So, but anyway, so I learned a lot about that business. And one of the things first that I learned was watching movies like the TLC story and watching like the Tony Braxton story, and you notice like how these people were getting screwed in their contract. So the very first thing I did was I read my contracts with franchise, right? I'm like, they ain't gonna get me with that. And so that's how like how I'm able to come on YouTube and just talk about this stuff off the top of my head, because I really delved into this stuff and read that FDD, the franchise disclosure document, from front to back. You know what I mean? Because I was like, if I mess this up, I'm gonna mess this up. They're not gonna get over on me. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things. The next thing is, labels, like a lot of people talk about the 360 deal and the labels having so much control over the artist. That's how I kind of look at franchises these days, because, a unit franchise, what I'm talking about, can just make one simple wrong Facebook post that the master franchise owner disagrees with, and they can snatch that whole franchise away. That's how much power that they have.
Wow.
They take so many different feeds you can't eat, and they have a non-compete agreement against you, so you can't even go out and get your own contract. And I think, to me, that's similar to the 360 deal that a lot of people don't like with record labels, because these people, that mean that the franchise is eating off of the record label eats off of every single thing that the artist gets, even if it's not music related, they get to eat off of it. And it's like, that's the same way to the franchise. Even if you go out here and you get a contract on your own, you bid it yourself, you wrote the contract, you do everything, you still got to give them a piece. Most franchises, you know what I mean? Most of them. If you can find one, every now and then you might find one that's not like that, but for the most part, they operate like that. That's their model. And so it's like, if you can get it independent, why not get it independent and keep your whole bag versus keep trying to catch your little droppings and pennies, you know what I mean, that's falling from these franchises and these record labels, when it's out here for you to get it. You know what I mean? Just like if you in the music industry, YouTube exists. Put your product out there, let people, you know what I mean, let the market tell you if it's good or not. And if you're trying to do cleaner business, then, you know what I mean, like I exist, okay? So listen to what I tell you, just go do it. And then the market will tell you if you're doing it right or not. You know what I mean? Just go do it though. Like, but you don't need a big brother. You don't need like somebody over you, this big cloud controlling all of your things and overseeing you. It's like, if you the boss, you the boss. You know what I mean? Like, if you the boss, then why is the customer paying them first and then you get something after they take it out of your check? You know what I mean? That's not the boss, because they can tell you what to do at that point. But I won't go too deep in that. I hope I answered that question.
Nah, you did, man. You did.
I
So
was about to go full Dame Dash on that.
love Dame Dash, man. So you end up becoming a unit franchise owner with Jam Pro, and you excel. You know, you got systems in place. You're doing great numbers. You winning awards. How did you get that phone call from the master franchise owner to now become a corporate employee of the company? They move you and your family out. You know, basically you go from being up under them and being a, quote unquote slave to them, to now it's like, yo, we want to do business with you. Like, we want to invest finances into you, and we want you to help us grow this thing. How did that happen?
Man, it's funny, because it goes into why I always preach build that personal brand, because it came from YouTube. You know, I get up here and I talk all the time, and it's like, I might not look to par, but single thing that came out of my mouth was fact. And it's like, whether it was a master franchise owner, whether it was a unit franchise owner, whether it was somebody just in another industry or business, most of the people that heard my stuff would say that I was speaking facts when it came to business. And so when a Janet King rep from out of Las Vegas actually heard what I was saying, she emailed me one day and offered me a sales position out in Vegas. And it's like, me being from Portsmouth, Virginia, and I never pretty much seen anything outside of Virginia. I've never been to the West Coast at all. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't even want no job. But a sales position out in, in Las Vegas? You know, I'm considering this. So I'm strongly considering it. And at the time, too, I had actually downsized my business. So I sold like maybe 60% of my contracts because I was actually working on getting out of the franchise, taking my cash, moving down to Atlanta because I wanted to be in Atlanta at that time and rebuild independently. But I got sidetracked because I also had a rental property, and I had some work that needed to get done to it. So the money that I made from selling those first amount of contracts, I had to put into the home. So it stopped everything. So I was like, oh man. So I was kind of hurting at that time anyway. And it was like, dang, now my business is slow. And the funds that I made from selling those contracts, I had to use on this rental property I got. But so when she sent the offer, it was just like out of the blue. I didn't apply for a job. I wasn't looking for a job. I never considered a job. And when she sent it, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this is a sign. So I was considering taking it. And she told me to discuss it with Jam Pro to see if I had a non-compete or anything. I showed it to the master franchise owner that I was with Jam Pro, and he was like, well, wait a minute. I didn't know that you were up for a job. You know what I mean? He said, I can't, you know what I mean? He was like, well, I probably can't afford you, but let me call corporate and see if maybe they can help me out with it. So corporate took it upon themselves because apparently they were already familiar with me through YouTube. And so corporate took it upon themselves to call me directly. So the CEO of Jam Pro International calls me on a conference call with a couple of his other board member executives, and I'm just like tripping because I'm in the hood at this part. You know what I mean? Like I'm still in the hood on the phone with these execs, and because we moved out of our house that was in a nicer neighborhood to go back to the hood. You know what I mean? To rent it out and trying to do multiple income and all of that. Just build. You know what I mean? So I'm on the phone with these execs, and they asked me straight up, they said, man, well, what do you want to do? Like, just tell us where you want to live. And I said, well, honestly, I'm like, why? So like, because I know they got Jam Pro locations all over the world. You know what I mean? Not even all over the country, but all over the world. And so I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? So I said, well, whatever you do, keep me on the East Coast because I want to still be able to run my business because I still have my franchise. And I said, also, I need to be somewhere where it's hot. So he said, all right, bet. So he put me in contact with the master franchise owner down there in Jacksonville, Florida. He actually had Jacksonville, Tampa, and Orlando, something like that. And that guy reached out to me, flew me down for a quick sit down. It wasn't even really an interview. Like I said, I never applied or anything. Just wanted to meet up with me, see where my head was at. And then after that, the rest was history. They paid for my whole family to move down there, and it's just unbelievable, man. Like what could come from building that personal brand and sharing what you know, man.
That's amazing, man. Just cell phone, driving to and from accounts, talking about your experience, talking about the accounts you just finished, problems you encountered. That's it. You just never know.
That's it. And I'm building my business. I was still growing. So once I went down there and took the job down there temporarily, I'm working for them as the operations manager, which means I was basically training the other unit franchise owners. And I'm also building my business back at home. And shout out to my brother Michael, who was I put him in charge to run things for me back locally. So it's like I'm doing it both at the same time, and it's just amazing, man. Like I just be tripping off of that sometimes.
You were doing CBN at the same time.
So technically I was, because even though I didn't call it Clean Biz Network yet, it was, I think we had the Everybody's Mastermind group at that time. And so I still was running that. I still had my starter kit going, and back then it wasn't the starter kits you see now. They were okay. People still raved about them, but I have to admit it's definitely new and improved now. But I sold my digital starter kits, not the course that I got. It was completely different, but it was like a bunch of downloads. So I had that going. And actually, I did have a physical starter kit too as well back then. I just thought about it. And I actually got into it with them about that. So I don't know if that's where you were going with it. I'll let you ask me the question before I jump into it.
Well, yeah, I was heading down that road. So I think that now it's going to be impossible for anybody to do what you did, because I know they shutting that down. They throwing that in the clause. Like, you cannot document anything. You cannot start a YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing like that. So talk about it. Have you heard of anything like that? Have you seen any like amendments made to the contract? Like, talk about it.
I haven't heard of that yet, but I do know, and that's why y'all know that I was very careful with what I said for a while. So like all of my non-competes are good now. I'm good now. So that's why you hear me making videos saying forget franchises don't do it. You know what I mean? Like back then I used to kind of hedge and be like, word around it and hope people could read between the lines because I had these non-competes I had going on. So I had a non-compete from the job that I had with them, but that was just in that Jacksonville area. And then I also had a non-compete with the Virginia area. So it was just like, all right, I still got to watch what I say because even though I wasn't really like, I wasn't, getting rich off of my franchise that I had in Virginia, but I still had a lot of employees eating off that business. And it was like, I didn't want to lose it because I knew that even if I lost it, I'd be fine financially, but what about everybody else? You know what I mean? So I really wanted to be careful with that to make sure that until I completely sold that franchise, I can really speak on anything. And that's why I ultimately did sell the franchise so I can go full-fledged into Clean Biz Network. And I didn't know it was going to do well, but I'm grateful and I'm thankful every single day that it did work out.
Perfect. That segue into the next section. When did you know that it was time, or when did it hit you that it was time to, even though the offer was great, it was humbling to be on the phone with the CEO of the company. When did you know that it was time to say, hey, thank you, but no thanks. It's time for me to build this empire that we now know as Clean Biz Network?
That's a huge question. All right, so really the whole time I had that job, I was kind of struggling to even do it. Like not only because I was just so anti-job at the time anyway, but then also because it was a lot of things I didn't agree with as far as the fees and as far as how they told me how to handle certain situations with unit franchise owners. But I fought through, you know what I mean? I dealt with it. And I quit one time because of it. Then I said I had to chalk it up and go back because I really, you know what I mean? Like my franchise still was building back up, so I had to go back. Then when I went back that second time, I stayed for a while, and then I was about to leave. And at this point, my online stuff was doing pretty well, but it wasn't. I still wasn't, it still wasn't paying me more than what that job was, but it was doing pretty well, doing well enough. And for one, I started losing sleep because I started feeling guilty about things that I was seeing about the way how they. I don't want to. I gotta rephrase that. I gotta rephrase that because I don't want to talk bad about it because I'm grateful for, the opportunity. But one thing I started like they approached me with the offer to come back again after I quit that second time, and they asked me. They said that they will give me my whole entire territory. They'll basically um, walk me into becoming a master franchise owner, and all I got to do is just come back and roll with them. But all I had to do was end all of the online stuff that I had going on. Stop selling starter kits was the main thing that they wanted me to do. Stop selling starter kits. Stop the little group I got. That's what they call it. Stop the little group, the little thing you got going on, and we'll like come with us. You know what I mean? Don't you? I'm a millionaire. I can show you. Like, if you want to be a millionaire, why don't you want to come learn under a millionaire? I think I live a comfortable life. I don't know what you want, but you know what I mean? So they come at me with that. And it was very tempting. It was very, very, very tempting. I'm telling you, we were not doing great at that time financially in my household. So, but in the back of my mind, I thought about Master P when he said, if they willing to give me, I think he said it was like 5 million, then I know I'm worth 20 million. You know what I mean? Because he got offered a deal from a label or something like that. And so that's exactly what popped in my head. It's like, dang, if he really that pressed about me letting go of these starter kits and letting go of this little group that he says, I must be on to something. So I said, you know what? I talked to my wife one last time, and she reluctantly said, I mean, hey, if you think you can do it, I mean, go ahead and if you think you can keep paying the bill without it, just go ahead. But I know she wanted it so bad in the back of her head. So I can do it. You know what I mean? So
that reminds me of the Master P story where Master P said him and his brother C Murder almost got into a fight on the plane going back home.
See, and I'm telling you, and like I'm sure like it was definitely some animosity there. Like she did it, and that's why I always praise her because she bit the hell out of her tongue. Like, so, and she rolled with me. She believed in me, even though she was not sure about it, but she still believed in me. She stepped on my side. And I took a gamble, and it did work. You know what I mean? So, but it took everything in me to do it. And I got to shout out Vicky. I want to say Vicky Thomas Houston. Shout out to Yak Calvin Weaver. Shout out to Nicole Mason. Shout out to, I'm trying to think of every single person that really said something to me to change, like to really make that move. Makia Hall. And I might be missing somebody else, but I know that cause when we in the Clean Business Network group, I always voice what I'm going through. If I'm about to make a change, I always get y'all feedback in that group. And I kind of asked them look, y'all, I'm thinking about going back to that job for a third time. And everybody was like, look, do what you got to do what you got to do. And then some of y'all was like, I mean, I don't know why you would, but if you say so, you know what I mean? You know what's best. And I just wanted to shout out Vicky in particular because she said one thing that really, really, really made me say, you know what, forget this. I asked her, and also it was a big influence to me too because she was a franchise owner with I think some other franchise company. It was a newer company. And then after she was a franchise owner, they also offered her a position like how they offered me one. And she was like an area developer or something. So she was doing a real big position. And when I asked her opinion, she said, well, yeah, you can go back. You got to do what you got to do. But honestly, I'm sure everybody wondered like me, why you selling out? And I was like, oh, I'm selling out. You know what I mean? Oh, hell no, I'm not ever going to be no sellout. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. I am selling out for money. Hey, now, you know what? F them. I'm going to build my independent thing. You know what I mean? So that's what I decided to do. And I'm just grateful that it paid off.
Man, that's awesome, man. That is so awesome, man. That's crazy because, I mean, who would have known that all of that can stem from a YouTube channel, and so, not just the opportunity with Jan Pro, but look at what CBN is now because you started that YouTube channel, So my next segment of this interview is, so now we made that decision, we full force CBN. How, looking back at what CBN was and where it's at now, how can you describe it in words?
Oh boy, humbling. I mean, it is amazing. It's not a day to go by inside of that group that is not somebody posting some major win that they got. That's number one. And to see that the stuff that I'm doing is actually working, because when you first get into this internet stuff, everybody always got a course to sell you at the end of this stuff. And it's like, if you think how I think, you skeptical, right? You thinking yeah, sure, buy my course. Oh, you got a course too. I thought you was real. You know what I mean? So you get tired of everybody and they little courses. You know what I mean? So it's just I always vow that I'm not about to be one of these internet dudes. And more power to them. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but I just knew that I didn't want to be another internet guy with another course. You know what I mean? And maybe I shouldn't think that way, but that was just what I thought. You know what I mean? So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? If I create a course, number one is gonna I'm gonna have some forms with it. I'm gonna have some templates with it so you can apply it. I'm gonna put the equipment with it. If you need equipment, I'm gonna ship it to your house. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do every single thing possible. Then eventually it evolved into me providing leads with the stuff and creating an app for it. And so many it just evolved over time of just out of me always trying to make sure that I give the absolute best chance for the person that's buying my product, because it's at the end of the day, I'm on YouTube every day, and the last thing I want is somebody to come on my thing and be like, "Oh, you a scam," and you know what I mean? It's and even though that could be one person out of the thousands and thousands of people that I help, that still make all the world of difference to me. And I know that I probably should change that mindset too if I'm gonna grow, because haters gonna come. But that's just what I really obsess over is customer satisfaction. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even though I look at CBN as my family, they still you guys still are my customers if you paid me. And so it's my duty and my job to get y'all the best customers experience as possible. And that's what I always just try to do.
And that's why so many people rock with you, because you're just honest, and regardless of if it's gonna hurt the business, you're gonna always give the right advice, you're gonna give the right tips, and you're gonna steer people in the right direction. So
I definitely done some stuff that hurt the bottom line for sure, just out of the goodness of my heart. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get better at not doing it, but I can't help it, honestly.
It's just a part of who you are. And I'm telling you, man, every time you do that, I'm telling you, man, that makes somebody go shout your name to somebody else, or to 3 more people, or to 5 more people. So the lead generation program, how did that come about? what was the motive behind that, and why did you see fit to do something for your people where they no longer had to say, okay, I'm going to the franchise because I know I can get the guaranteed contracts? What made you go ahead and just create that to just kind of cut them off that rope of feeling like they got to go to the franchise to get that?
Yeah, and you know, and that was the motive. It was like, cause I'm looking like, okay, I'm on this YouTube channel. I done left the franchise, now I'm breaking away from that. And it's like, the only thing that franchise got over me is they provide these contracts. So it's like, what can I do to help people get contracts, man? Because it's like, I know that the information inside of my stuff is way more than what they ever want to teach you. I know that for a fact. But it's like, okay, well, sometimes people need more than the information. How can you help these people get contracts? So I was obsessing over that thing for months. Then one day you made a post inside Clean Biz Network on how to hire callers overseas and you know, a strategy how to do it. And so I'm like, wow, okay, that's interesting. I kept it, I to screenshot it on my phone, kept it for later. Then I looked in another group and another guy said something else similar to what you said, but it was like with a little bit different strategy. So now I'm like, bam, I'm about to do this. You know what I mean? I'm about to do this. So I made a post inside the group and I said, listen, if I could guarantee you leads within 30 business days, this and this and that, would you do it? And everybody was like, yeah, hell yeah, you know what I mean? I'll do it a second. You know what I mean? So I was like, bet. So I hit you up on the phone, asked you how you did it, because you had already actually did it already. You know what I mean? So I hit you up, kind of consulted with you about, okay, Calvin, how did you go about hiring them? Well, was it a particular country you went to? Or was it a particular wage that you paid them? You know what I mean? Like I really picked your brain about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. And it's crazy because I was gonna pay them a completely different way at first, and then you told me like, no, this is how I do it. And I'm like, man, cause see, I'm always trying to overpay people, and I'm trying to discount the customer and overpay the employees, and that's why my margin's always too slim. But that's just my mindset. So when I spoke to you, you showed me a way to still keep it the price of at least reasonable for the customer, while also making a bigger profit by paying them in a different way. So that helped me a ton. So shout out to Calvin one last time for his being so instrumental for that lead generation service. But also, so I put the post inside the group that very next day, and they were like, "Dang, you came back fast." So like, yeah, I don't play. So I put the post inside the group, and I was like, "All right, it's available for purchase. Who want to buy?" You know what I mean? And shout out to Fish. I got to shout out Fish every single time because he was the very first person to buy a lead from me. I don't know if he bought one. No, I think he bought like three. I think he bought three. Then Benny McCargo, I believe, was another one that bought in early. And I didn't even have callers yet. You know what I mean? I didn't even have callers yet. I just let them buy it first. I used that money to help pay for the caller. And so I went through like maybe 4 or 5 callers, just testing them out. I would hire them fast. If they won't deliver within a day or two, cut them off. You know what I mean? Cut them off. And so, and I finally stumbled across a real good caller and was able to deliver all of those leads to those people. And also, I always forget to tell this part of the story. The first 5 people that bought into that lead generation service just for them having faith in me, I actually gave them their leads and refunded them all of the money. I wasn't really in a financial position to be doing that. But I just thanked them for taking a chance because it was like, thanks to y'all believing in me and allowing me to take a chance, that allowed me to start a whole new service because it worked. You know what I mean? It actually worked. And so it's still rolling to this day, man. And it's like, it just, thank you.
Hey, man. Greatness just attracts more success. That's what it is, man. So you got the lead generation service rocking and rolling. You got the starter kit. You upgrade the starter kit course. You did the master class, saw great success with that. Shout out to CJ, you know what I'm saying? The Google Ads guru, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. So many great stuff is happening in the group. So many great success stories. Sean Richards, one of them. William Wade, the hardcore OG in the group that's always grinding. Just on and on and on. Great success stories happening. So then you decide, okay, I want to take it a step further. Because we normally host our group within Facebook. And you decided, okay, how can we put everything in one place and nobody can take it away? You know, it's there, it's available. And also, I'm going to make the main component something that everybody is asking me about all the time, which, as we know in the group, is AJ. Like at least 3-4 times a week, somebody's messaging in the group, AJ, 911 attention. You know, I got this potential account, and it's this many square, you know, it's this amount of square footage, this many, you know, urinals and all of this. What's the correct bid for this? So you created this app called Calculated Clean. And not only is it a state-of-the-art bidding calculator, but it also encompasses everything inside the app that a cleaning business owner will need. You know, what was the first inception or the first, you know, idea to do the app? When did that happen? Or do you remember when that first idea popped up, and what ultimately made you hop on it and just get started and just build it?
Yeah, man. So it actually started because, like I said, I always obsess over, number one, trying to improve like the customer experience. So like you said, inside of that group, one of the things that I always get like nonstop to this day, the number one question is how to bid on something. And so like, if it ain't how to bid, it's how to get customers. That's the number two thing. So it's like, I took care to get the customers with the lead thing. It's like now, so it's like, okay, how to bid. And it actually came from also that not only do I obsess over how to, you know, create that good customer experience, I also obsess over the system. And so it's like, how can I get like something to answer these people for me sometime? You know what I mean? Like versus, and I don't want to bring in a partner to help answer because that's just more overhead. How can I automate this? So that's when I came up with the idea, a bidding calculator, bam. So, oh my God, I forgot about this story. So what I did was I researched first to see if anybody had one, because I'm always trying to be resourceful, look for partners or see like a way to subcontract out. I found another guy who had a bidding calculator already out. I reached out to him and I said, look, I think I have a decent following on YouTube. I got, you know, this, I got that. Would it be possible if I could partner with you and offer your app? Actually, he didn't even have an app. He just had like a website. Could I offer your website and you just pay me on referral commission? He said, currently, right now, we're not doing referral commissions. I said, okay, but I told myself in my head, he's gonna regret that. Then I found another like phone app that would do. They only would bid like on houses, and it was very, 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 very basic. It couldn't do commercial. It couldn't do special services. But it was like you plug in the rooms and the bathrooms and like how many kitchens, and it'll give you like a basic answer. You know what I mean? Like very simple. So, and I reached out to them, tried to do the same deal. They wouldn't do it. And I said, all right, cool. I got to figure this out on my own. And so I knew that the franchises were using like Excel sheets. You know what I mean? So I was like, bam, well, maybe I could just create Excel sheet, and just send it to them. You know what I mean? So I put my little formula together, and it started off as Calculated Clean, and you can download it. And it actually still comes in the course today for those who don't like the internet version. Is the manual version. The manual version is actually a little bit better because you can plug in like the few to tax. It'll help you actually calculate what you should charge per hour versus the online version. You just tell it what you want to charge per hour. But either way, start off as an Excel file, just me trying to be creative and come up with a better way to serve the people and help answer some of those questions so that I don't have to keep answering. Well, everybody didn't have Microsoft Excel. Okay, so like, that was the issue. And then also, most people are operating from their phones. Well, that's the other problem with Excel. So it was like, okay, bam, how can I make this even better? So then I started researching how to build an app. And I came up with a way to actually build an app. And also, in the midst of finding out how to build an app, I came up with a way with how to create how to plug in my bidding formula from an Excel file to an actual website. And so it's like, instead of them having to download the Excel file, they can just go to my website, plug in the same numbers, and come out with an answer. So I was able to merge the app part with the calculator part, and I just put it out there, and I gave it away for free actually for a year. Yeah. And I got a lot of feedback about it. I just let that thing sit out there for a year, listening to the consumer, and everybody told me for the most part that it was everything that they ever wanted. So I just kept building on it and building on it.
Yeah, I personally think it's a game changer because so many, like, even if people don't utilize the franchise model, which is dying out, or if people don't use CBN, like, let's just say for that person that just clean houses on the weekend for extra money, you know, they need to know how much should I charge and not just look around with their eyes and just guess. And that's what I love about it, is that it gives accurate industry standard rate for any situation that you're in when you're cleaning. And I personally think it's a great tool. And I'm kind of afraid to share it with my mother-in-law because she does the housekeeping for us. So she may be trying to, might go ahead and pull up calculated clean, you know what I'm saying, and see that what I've been paying her ain't enough, you know what I'm saying? She might try to, she might try to get over on me. But yeah, man, that's what I love about the app, because it's for everybody. It's for that person, like I said, that just clean houses for extra money on the weekend, or it's for that person that owns an independent company and he got like 30, 40 employees that go across the city cleaning. His salespeople can have the technology that they need right at their, like, right on their cell phones. No notepads, no all of that. He can do everything right there. He can, send the proposal back to the main office or whatever he needs to do. He can do it right from the cell phone. And that's what I love about the app. So my next question is, where do you see the future of Calculated Clean? Will there be another version of Calculated Clean?
So right now it's really up in the air. I'm kind of toying with where I want to go with it because like originally it started off just a bidding calculator. Then I realized, you know what? I got all of these other services. Let's put it all into the app. So then we put the leads into the app. Then we put the training course, the starter kit course into the app. Then we put an actual community into the app. So now you can hop in the app and ask me questions directly, or any one of the other members. We actually got like definitely over 5,000 members inside of that app. So but yeah, so I keep growing, and then eventually we got to the point where we have proposal generator. So it's like right after you finish a walkthrough with the customer, you can literally go back, sit in your car, plug in the numbers on the calculator part, then take that number, put it inside your proposal inside the same app, and literally send that proposal off to your customer in minutes, and it's gonna be a real professional proposal that like they'll be so impressed, like, how did he just do that? He just left from here. Typically a proposal might take a couple of days or so, depending on how big it is. So it's like, I just wanted to streamline everything. So now it's to the point where I want to take it to the moon, man. I don't know how I want to go about doing it. I've been talking to some other people too as well who have similar apps with me. Shout out to Ricky Regalado. We've been talking about merging our apps, but for now, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. But one thing I do know is we're just gonna keep growing it. That's what I do know for sure. So calculatedclean.com if you're interested, by the way. I gotta plug it.
Nah, because like I said, it's just a great tool, man. And like I said again, I'll restate it. If you're that small person, that's just cleaning on your own, or if you're that big corporation, just the fact that you can do all of this stuff from the cell phone, and especially if you're somebody that's, considering starting a cleaning business, like, just think about it. You can get all the information you need. Like, you can access all of AJ's like 300 plus videos, free videos in the app. When you out in the field, you can stay motivated. If you got a bid, you can do that in the app. If you want to buy appointments, you can do that in the app. If you want to log on and ask AJ a question, you can do that in the app. Like, literally everything is in the app. And you know what this reminds me of? Because like business owners, they purchase from Grant Cardone the Cardone U. And it's like that one platform that has everything inside of it. And like, your app is that for cleaning professionals. Like, it's literally everything you need while you're on the go. If you need to stay motivated, you can stay motivated. If you need to, get things done business-wise, you can get it done. It's just super convenient and super effective for anybody that is in the cleaning industry, thinking about getting in the cleaning industry, or just dabbling in the cleaning industry. This could definitely save you time, save you money, and most definitely help you look professional and be professional. So again, calculatedclean.com. Get the app, man. It's available on all mobile devices, so you could definitely get that. Man, so any last words? What would you say to somebody right now that is thinking about starting some type of business or starting their entrepreneurial journey, what advice would you give them? And then after that, any last words or remarks that you have, feel free to take it away.
So anybody thinking about starting a business, the number one thing I would say is get up and go do it. And let me break it down, because I know that's what everybody always tell you, right? Go do it. But actually, first off, any business that you want to start, the information is out there. Go to Google, number one, how to whatever business you want to start. That's number one. That's how I built my app. That's how I created Clean Biz Network. That's how I, you know what I mean, did a lot of things, you know, between Google and YouTube. So look it up first, and make sure there's actually money to be made in that industry. That's another thing. Maybe it might not be recession proof, but try to hope that maybe it is at least recession resilient. You know what I mean? Like at least it might waver off a little bit, but it's still not gonna go out of business. You know what I mean? So try to look for things that's gonna actually stand the test of time. And just take that action, man. If you got to go to the library and sit down and research, that's what I did all the time. I lived in the library. Read books on this stuff. Read blogs on this stuff. Listen to hours of video content and podcasts on this stuff, okay? If you want something different out of life, you got to do different things, man. You got to just completely do what everybody else is not doing. You know why? Because everybody else don't have a business. Okay, everybody else don't own a multi-million-dollar company. If you want to own a multi-million-dollar company and be your own boss, then guess what? You got to do different things, because that's a different thing than what the average person has. Okay, so yeah, everybody gonna be calling you crazy. Yes, everybody gonna be like, oh, you know, they're gonna have all type of criticism to say about you. And I done been through it. I still go through it, and it's just like, okay, keep your head down, keep moving. You can show them better than you can tell them. So take action. Take action. Do it. Okay. I have a video. Because y'all know I help people start and grow cleaning companies, right? At cleanbiznetwork.com. I have a video on YouTube. It's free if you want to start a cleaning company. It's how to start a cleaning business, and just look up how to start a cleaning business, AJ Simmons. And it literally tells you the 10 steps, step by step, how to do it. You know how many people watch that video, then go find me on Instagram and say, how do I get started? I just told you, step by step, do it. Okay, now you have to take action. So my point is, number one, do the research, figure out what you need to do. And then number two, what everybody is scared to do is do it. Because the worst thing that's going to happen if you fail is you just go back to where you started from anyway, if you're from the bottom like me. And if you're not from the bottom and you go back and you fall further than what you already were, no problem. You done got there before anyway. You know how to get back to where you were. That's all you want. You know what I mean? Just go do it. Do it. It's way more to gain out of this stuff than it is to lose. Okay, so just don't be scared, man. Go out there and go get what's yours. There's so much abundance out there, man. There's so many. I have no business creating a phone app. I don't know how to code. I'm a little black boy from Portsmouth, Virginia. Can't you tell by the way I talk, man? I'm not that smart. Okay, I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. Okay, you can do it if I can do it. I guarantee you. But you got to apply yourself. You got to separate from the people that you surrounding yourself with that you know ain't doing shit. If they not doing what you trying to do, get away from them. Maybe not. Now you ain't got to cut them off and hate them, but you can't be around them every day. You can't be around them every week. You might not even be able to be around them for months at a time. Okay, but do what you have to do to go get what you want out of this life. Now I forgot to set the last part of the question. Anything else I wanted to add? That was probably it. That was probably it. But I appreciate you, Calvin, for really taking the time out and let me speak my piece. And I just want to say, anybody thinking about starting a cleaning business, go to cleanbiznetwork.com. And also, if you just like this video, or you like my energy, or you want to learn more from me, check out my YouTube channel, AJ Simmons, okay? Or follow me on Instagram at AJ Simmons Online. I appreciate y'all.
All right, man. Have a great one. We'll talk soon, bro.
Absolutely.
All right.